Good morning.
Hey, Terry, good to see you again today.
Yep, yep.
Let's see, Kathleen, good morning. And Jane, how are you this morning?
I'm good. Good morning to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Cecilia. Good morning. And
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Hi, Renee. How are you?
Hi, good. You were just saying something about we need to look at OneNote at the same time.
Some people like to watch on their phone and then have their laptop or whatever so they can work on it instead of trying to look at do it all on one. You can do it all on one. It gets a little more complicated.
Okay,
So
thank you
that's what
very much.
Yeah, sure. See, Janet, how are you?
And we say the sugar, critically. Jobless claim, the
All right,
719.
and let's see, Jeannie. Good
Morning.
And let's see who else we got here. Wanda, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, good morning. And Mary Jean, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Wade. I don't have visual, so I'll just watch your lovely face.
Okay, well, I don't know about that, but you're certainly welcome to watch. Thanks for joining us. And that's as long as you can hear me and I can hear you and you can see my screen, we're good to go. And Leslie, how are you this morning?
Pretty good. How about you?
Oh, I'm great. It's supposed to be rainy, but it looks kind of sunny out there. So I think it's going to be a good day. In fact, I was going to leave the blinds open, but they're starting to get sunny. Let me close my blinds quickly so I don't have a glare there. I always have to adjust to the Zoom world. Okay. All right. See, I think I've spoken to everybody. One thing I always like to do is make sure I hear everybody so that I know that when you do have questions and comments, I can hear you. Oops. And let me just check on one thing here. Oops, lost my phone connection. Give me just 1 second to get that back. Okay, it's going to try and be Henri, of course. All this technology. Okay, now I've got it back. All right, so just in time, because we usually take the first 4 to 5 minutes and give people a chance to get logged in, make sure the technology is working and meet and greet each other. So we have got that taken care of. So let's go ahead and get started with some of the housekeeping issues. First thing I'll do is to go ahead and share my screen. And then I just need to move your pictures over to my other monitor so I can see everyone while we're having the class. Oh, Hiroko. Hey, you came in. I wasn't looking. Welcome. Good to have you again.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm not hearing you, Hiroko. I'm not sure you're not showing as muted, but I'm not hearing you. Let me just check one thing here. Oh. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, she's gonna go get a different microphone. All right, and okay, so let's go ahead and we'll get started. So I've got the pictures moved over where I can see you over my other monitor. We will be muting everybody today. You know, it's a fairly large class and there's always background noise, things happen. So that's why I was making sure everybody knows how to unmute themselves. So if you have a question or a comment, just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question or make your comment. Don't need to raise your hand or anything. Just go ahead and unmute and ask away. I'm going to open up the chat in case anyone is having trouble with their microphone. I think I've heard from everyone. But if you're having trouble reaching me, you can enter your questions and comments into the chat and I'll see them over here. But if your microphone's working, please just go ahead and ask your questions out loud. That way everyone else can hear your questions and I'll also hear them on a timely basis. But if you're having any difficulties, the chat is now open. Okay, so that's got the technology out of the way. Let's go ahead and get started. So I want to officially start this Organized with OneNote class. Thank you all for attending.
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Sure, Wanda.
I just realized you're doing OneNote, which is a Microsoft product. I thought we were doing Notes, which is on the Mac.
Okay. Yep, you can run Microsoft on a Mac, but this is a Microsoft product. So if you don't use Microsoft, then you wouldn't have this on the Mac.
Do we have to purchase it?
You do not have to purchase it. If you have Windows, you already have it. But
I just went to Amazon and to download it, and it said, "Oh, this will be charged to you." After that's all it said.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. But no, it is included with Windows.
I don't have that.
So Wanda, you're welcome to stay, but it may not be something you can use if you don't have Windows on the Mac. Yeah, you would have to you would probably have to get a copy of it.
I do have it, but I'm trying to find my password to get into it.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
So,
so you'll need your
thanks.
Microsoft username and password to get into it. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let me, excuse me, a frog in my throat this morning. One other technology question. Is there anyone that can't see my phone over here because pictures are in the way? Sometimes it should be with the pictures off to the side automatically so you can see my phone over here. But if anyone is having trouble, let me know. I can help you move those pictures around. All right. So let's go ahead and get started then. This is Organizing with OneNote. And thank you so much for signing up and attending. My name is Wade Yarbrough, and I'll be the guide for the class today. Very briefly about me, I'm from a town called Mason, Tennessee, a very small town just outside of Memphis, Tennessee. I got my PhD in West Virginia, University of West Virginia, in experimental psychology, but also had a minor in computer science. So I've kind of always bounced back and forth between psychology and computer science. Spent most of my working career, though, on more the computer science side of things, installing and training users how to use healthcare information systems, primarily in hospitals. But what I love about teaching at Get Set Up is the fact that I'm teaching people that are in the class because you want to be in the class, not because your employer made you attend or it's a required course at your university. So it's nice to be around people that are wanting to be in the class. And that's what we try to do with Get Set Up, is to create an environment where people can learn the things they want to learn with other people that are interested in the same topic. So we have a community feel to it, and you can interact directly with your guide. So we all learn from each other. The session is being recorded, and any participant can request a copy of that recording. To do that, just send an email to help@getsetup.io. I'm gonna put that in the chat in case you don't already have that, and I'll also go over it again at the end of class. But send an email to help@getsetup.io requesting a copy of the video recording. Just be sure to give the name of the class and the date you attended it. We also are live streaming the class, as we're live streaming most of our classes now. So anyone that's joining us via live stream, we want to welcome them to the class. Thank you for attending as well. but also to remind you that the best way to get the full Get Set Up experience is to register for a class at our website so you can interact with the other learners and also ask questions directly to the guide. And finally, Get Set Up is not paid to promote any of the products that we train on. We are purely trainers. Okay, so our objectives for today is that by the end of the class, you'll understand how OneNote can be used to collect, compile, and organize all your notes. It's a great way to keep notes. Be able to integrate images, drawings, and audio into your OneNote, and understand how to share and collaborate using OneNote. So I'm going to go over some background material. I'll be just going through these slides, but if I cover anything too quickly or if you have questions about it, please do unmute yourself and ask your question or ask me to go over that again. You missed it, whatever, to make sure you're following the information as we go. We're going to start with just talking a little bit about what OneNote is. And you can think of OneNote as a digital version of a physical notebook. I think that's the best way to think about it. And I've got some images coming later to help with that. But it's organized like a physical notebook. All of your notes are stored in OneDrive. If you're not familiar with OneDrive, which is Microsoft's cloud storage system, we do have a class on OneDrive. But basically, OneDrive is a cloud storage system. So anything you store in the cloud, you can get to from any other device. And OneNote is automatically stored in the cloud. So if you put a note into your laptop and then you're somewhere with your phone 15 minutes later, you can get to that same note from your phone, change the note, and then see it on your desktop when you get to work or to wherever you're going. So one of the huge advantages is being able to store everything in the cloud. And then it allows real-time collaboration on notes. Again, because it's in the cloud, if you're sharing a note with some other people, and we'll talk about some scenarios, how you might want to do that. But you can each be working on that same note at the same time. Since it's in the cloud, it's not on this device. So each of these three people can be seeing and editing the same note at the same time. Okay. Pause there in case there's any questions. Okay. And for anybody that came in later, I want to remind everybody that if you want to show your video, it's down there beside the mute. But showing your video is not required. But if you want to show your video, we'd love to see you as well. Okay. All right. So there are other note tools available. Google Keep is Google's version. There's a product called Evernote. We have classes on both Google Keep and Evernote. And then the product that's one of you had already mentioned, Apple Notes. So Apple has a note keeping tool. Lots of note keeping tools out there, a lot of similarities, some differences as well. And you don't have to use just one of them exclusively. I actually use OneNote, Google Keep, and Evernote. So I use 3 different tools for slightly different things. So you don't have to go all in with one product. So you may want to look at all of them and see which one you like best or see which one you like for different applications. So let's talk about how you get to OneNote. So OneNote is included with Microsoft 365. So if any of you have Microsoft 365, that is Microsoft's full Office product suite. So that is a lease product. You lease that for a year at a time. It includes OneNote automatically. OneNote app is free and runs on virtually any device. So if you don't have Microsoft 365, you can get OneNote via the app. There's a Windows app. There's the Apple App Store has it for your Mac, your iPhone, or your iPad. If you have an Android smartphone or tablet, it's in the Google Play Store. So you can access OneNote as an app from any of those sources. Now, the app does look and work a little differently than the full-blown version. So we'll show you both of those. I'm going to be using the browser, the Windows app most of the time here, but the one on the smartphone looks a little differently. And then OneNote also runs as a browser app. So again, if you're on a device that doesn't have the app on it and it doesn't have Windows on it, you can open any browser and run it from a browser window as well. And in fact, I have a link here. I'll show you how that would work. So if you want to, you can get to it just by www.onenote.com. So I'm going to click that link. And it brings me up to Microsoft Office. So again, I'm just on a web browser. You could do this from any computer anywhere. So if you happen to be at a hotel and you're using the one of the PCs in the lobby, or at your friend's house, you can just go to the browser, click on this, and then you can, over here are all the Microsoft products. So you can go to OneNote. And this opens your OneNote in a browser window. And I'm going to leave this open because we may go back up here later, but that's one of the ways to get to it. So there's multiple ways to get to OneNote. Questions about how to access it? I'm going to show you the Windows app as well as the phone app as well. Okay, let's move on.
I have one question.
Sure.
Why did you not have to enter a password there?
Because I'm already logged into Windows on this device.
Okay.
Good point, though. If I was doing this from that hotel lobby PC or from a friend's house, I would have to enter my Microsoft username and password. Yeah. And same thing, if you download the app, you'll have to log in with your Microsoft username and password. So you do have to have a Microsoft account to access OneNote. You don't have to have Microsoft 365, but you have to have a Microsoft account, which you can set up at the Microsoft website.
Maybe I had a Microsoft account because it wouldn't let me put in my regular email. It said I needed a different email in order to register. And I thought, what? So I must have be signed up then, huh?
Yeah, you probably have it, so you can probably do the forgot password and get back into it if it recognizes your email but doesn't recognize your password.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and access from the Microsoft app, and you can get that there for a couple of different ways. You can go over here to the start if you're on a Windows device. You got the little start button in the lower left, and so I can come here to the Microsoft Office suite and select OneNote from here. Or if you're using it frequently, the best thing to do is to download it. So it's in your shortcuts bar down here. So I've got it down here. I'll go ahead and launch it from here, though, to show you how you would get to it if you've just installed that app from the Microsoft App Store. So I think now it's automatically installed. You don't have to download it for Windows. If you've got an older version of Windows, you might have to go to the App Store and install it. And this opens up the OneNote for Windows 10 app. And that's what we're going to be using for most of the class today. So let me just reorganize a couple of things here. I'm going to move this over a little bit so we can see OneDrive, OneNote over here. So I mentioned that the structure of OneNote is very similar to a physical notebook. And so if you think about a physical notebook here, just a 3-ring binder, or this is a multi-ring binder, but you've got a notebook, that's the highest level. And so at the upper level, that's what you have here. So this is the notebook level. You can have multiple notebooks. So think about this like a shelf up above your computer. And you've got, in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different notebooks on that shelf. I can open any one of those notebooks and use it. It actually shows you which one is open right now. This notebook is open. These are closed and up on the shelf. But if I wanted to change to one of these, I can just click on it. And now I've got that notebook open. And again, it tells me here as well which notebook I'm using. And I've got one for this class, OneNote class. So I'm going to go into that one. The next level are the sections. And sections are like these physical dividers in your notebook. So you got the little tabs that you put into your notebook. This works exactly the same way. You put these section tabs And it even has a little icon here that looks like these tabs in a real physical notebook. These are your sections, just like a physical notebook. You can add tabs, you can remove tabs, you can reorder your tabs. And then the third level is the page. That's the actual piece of paper you're writing on. And in OneNote, here's your pages. That's the piece of paper I'm writing on. So very easy to understand, something we're all familiar with, that whole structure of pages, sections, and notebooks. Everybody understand that? Any questions about that one? All right, so let's kind of get the basic structure. Let's talk about how you use it. Make this a little bit bigger. So if you, when you first get it, it comes with one notebook there. But if you want to add a notebook, it's very easy to do. You come up here to the top and click, which opens, shows you all the notebooks you've already created. If I want to create a new one, I just come down here and click Add Notebook, type the name of my notebook, click Create, and I've now got a 6th notebook in my OneNote folders. So again, this up here, and it's got the little picture of the notebooks on the shelf. So these are this is the notebook tab. Now I've got my OneNote class notebook open now. If I want to add a section, a tab to it, I just click down here where it says add a section. And I'll just say class. Class for April 1. We're going to create a section just for our class today. So I've now created a new section. There's no pages in that section yet, but to start adding pages, I just come over here. Now it does put an untitled page in there by default. So in this case, all I have to do to start working is to title it, and the title goes up at the top. We're going to call this General Notes. So now I've got a page to work on.
Wade, I have a question.
Sure.
I'm trying to do this notebook. I've never opened it before. So I tried to type something and it comes up with a new notebook, and it gives me an account and 2 accounts, both of which are emails from previous jobs. So how do I create an account with the correct, I guess, email address?
Yeah, you would have to go, you would probably have to go back out to the website for Microsoft and create an account there.
Okay.
If you've already got OneNote here.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure that you can do it from within the app itself.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Okay, thank you.
And you could, if you can probably still use one of those you already had, if it'll let you open it just for class today, but then you can go back and create another account and have a different, and because it opens whatever Microsoft account you're logged into on that device is what it normally opens up. All right, so we're down to the page level. So let's start putting some stuff on our page. And OneNote uses the concept of containers. And again, I'm going to slide this over a little bit more here so you can see a little more of my OneNote. So when you click down here into the note itself and start typing something, you can see that it has a little box around it. There's a little gray area at the top and maybe a little hard to see, but there's lines around it. So that's called a container. And a container is something that holds text or other things that you've put in your note. What that allows you to do is I can just have one container and fill up a whole note here with one container. There's nothing wrong with that, but lots of times it's handy to have more than one container. So I can click over here and create. Have another container over here, so I can have some notes here, some notes over here. This lets me move these around, so I can move this container over here and move this container over here to rearrange things. And as we kind of get into this, some of this will make more sense as to why you might want to do that. In some cases, you'll just have a single container. But whenever you want to add another container, if you want to continue within a container, you just click inside the container, hit enter, and keep typing. If I want to create a new container, I click somewhere outside of the 2 existing containers, and now I'm creating a third container. You can also resize the containers. So if I, for whatever reason, I want to have this be a very narrow container, I can resize it just by waiting till the little arrows pop up and then hold down the left mouse button and drag in or out to change how wide that container is. Again, let me know if there's any questions. I'm going to keep moving unless someone stops with a question. But that's the, oh, and you notice it does have spell check. Thank goodness. And so I can use spell check to correct that typo I just had. So let's talk about some different types of things we may want to put into our OneNote and sort of how this all starts to come together, hopefully. So I'm going to create a to-do list. And to do that, first thing I'm going to create a new page. And I want this to be called my to-do list. So I'll just label that to-do list. And again, the label I put here is the same label that it puts over here on my page name. These are linked. But I want to have this be a to-do list, and a to-do list is a type of table. So I need to insert a table into this container that it's going to create as soon as I put something here. So I come up here to insert, and I insert a table. You can tell it how big you want the table to be. I'm going to start with a 4x4 table, 4 rows, 4 columns. And you click down here in the bottom right corner, and it creates a table over here of the size you told it to create. You can see that it's in a container, so I can move it around if I want to move it around. I'll leave it here for now. And so I'll go ahead and put my column headers. I have priority, due, the task itself that I need to do, notes about that task, whatever I want to have. And then I just start putting in my it's going to be that time of year. You notice that it expands as I'm typing. Like most, I can change those column sizes just by moving my cursor over until it has the arrows. And if I want to make that be a narrow column, I can do that. I can widen it out even further. You can always adjust the column sizes as you're going. And I put that in the wrong place. So let's just do a cut and paste and move that over. So all your typical editing commands work. Because really, that's not what I want. This is the due. Let's go. I want to get that done by the 15th. And I think they've pushed the due date out. I'm going to change that column back to be more narrow. And if I have any notes about doing my returns, I can put that note here. I can resize my container if I want to make this be larger, etc. Questions as I'm doing this? It's pretty straightforward. There's a number of things to remember, but as we're going through the class, I think the way that OneNote works will become more clear. As you use it, it becomes sort of second nature. It's like any new tool. There's some rote memory that's involved to get started, which is why we provide the recordings. So it's always, you can always get a copy of the recording and see any of this again if you didn't totally get it the first time through. Now, as I'm looking at my to-do list, there's something that is missing. I don't have any way to say when I've completed it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to do a right click and come down here to where it says table and say I want to insert a column to the left of where I am, where I clicked. It's created a new column to the left of where I'd clicked here. So it created a column here. And now I can mark that as my complete. So when I've completed something, I can put an X here if I want to say that it's been completed. You can see I've only got 2 more rows for things to put in there. That's probably not enough. So if I want to add some additional rows, I can just click and add 1 row at a time. If you want to add multiple rows at a time, you can actually select multiple rows like this. Again, just holding the left mouse button. And again, right click, table, insert below, and it'll add some extra rows in here. Tables come in really handy, and working with tables is fairly straightforward. Okay. Show you a few other things, getting a little more complicated, but if I wanted to clean this up a little bit, make it look a little nicer, I may want to go ahead and bold this, the text in that first column. So I just select that whole row and hit the B for bold up here. And I've now bolded it. There's other things I can do, and I've got a whole table tab up here. So I'm going to click to my tables tab and do a few other things. So I may want to add some coloring in that top row. So I can come up here where it says background color and maybe make it be a light blue background. So cleans up my table a little bit. Now I may want to center this information, especially these first 3 columns. So I can pick those 3, and then I say select the columns. And then I can come back home and center. So now I've centered current contents and future contents. Anything else I type in here will be centered as well. Again, if I lose anyone, just ask me to do that again if anything, or do anything too fast. I'm going to go up to one that I've already done to show you a couple other things, but one of the things you typically want to do with a table is to sort it. So and just to make this easier, let me change a couple of these so that it's not in order. So now it's out of order. To sort, again, I go back up here. All right, let's do this. Let me click in my table. All right, so you click in the column that you want to sort by. So I've clicked in this first column. That opens up my table tab up here. And over here to the far right is a sort. Click that, I can sort it alphabetically, or I can sort it reverse alphabetically, whichever way I want to sort it. In this case, probably more sense to sort it alphabetically. So I've got my table sorted by priority. However, maybe I want to sort it by due date instead. So I can just click over in this column and then sort by due date.
Can I ask how you got those nice little check boxes in there?
Yeah, I hope I remember how to do that. Let's go back down here to this one. So for complete, if you want to have a little checkbox instead, you can come back home and right here, it shows you a little checkbox.
Okay,
You can just click that and it'll put a checkbox in there.
okay.
And then if I want to center it to make it look nice, I can, you may not be able to center the checkbox. I think this checkbox is always at the far left.
Okay,
So what you can do actually, if you want to, is you could actually put the checkbox beside the task. So then when you're done, you could just check it off.
Okay.
So that's, dresses it up a little bit more. All right. Questions before we leave the to-do lists?
I have a question. If you have a table in a PDF form, can you bring it into OneNote and put it in and convert it into this table form there, or is that outside of the scope of this?
I doubt you
program.
can do it from a PDF. You might be able to do it from a spreadsheet, but I don't know how to do that. I haven't seen that function.
So if you could convert the PDF to a spreadsheet and then bring it in, you could do that. You could try that.
Yeah, I will. Let me check this. I'm curious about that myself. Let me see if there's a way to convert a spreadsheet to a table. And I'll put
Okay.
that in the notes that I sent out after class instead of trying
Okay,
to
good.
fumble around and figure it out in front of everyone.
Right. Sure. Okay, thank you.
My guess is you can do that, since especially if you use Excel, but I've never tried it. So that's
Yeah.
something good for me to learn as well. Thanks.
It may be copy and paste from Excel, but I don't know for sure either.
Yeah, you could, so I'll play with that and see. Okay, so let me show you some ways to put some other things. So we've showed you how to put a table into a note. And of course, we started with just typing text, which is very simple. There's other things we can do. I'm going to create another page, and we're going to call this insert files, since that's what we're going to do. And there's several ways to insert a file into a spreadsheet. And we'll come up here to insert file. Very logical. It opens your file explorer down here to where your files are. And so let's go into my my documents. And I know this is a small file, so I'm just going to click this one. So I click the one that I want. I can double click, or I can click and do open. And it gives me 3 choices. Traditionally, it only had this option. We'll start with that one, just insert it as an attachment. And it does what you would expect. It's here as an attachment. If I want to open it and see what's in there, I can just double click it and it'll open Word and show me what's in that Word file. And this is really still the one that I use most, because it doesn't take up that much space. But let me create another container down over here beside it. And show you the other option. We'll grab the same one. You can also upload to OneDrive and insert a link. Sorry. So when I insert it as an attachment, it put it into the folder as an attachment. Here I'm going to it's going to insert a link instead. And I'll show you one trick. I'm going to do that here just so we can see it. If you click here, it takes away those first, the table and everything, because I know what I'm in, so I can have more room to work. So it put a link to the file, and it actually put the contents of the file like a PDF. I can't edit this, but I can see what's in the file. So if you want to have what's in the file and then a link here, if I want to open it and edit it. In this case, it opens it. Then I have to click here to get it into Word. I don't really like this one. I'm not quite sure what the advantage, why you want to do this, unless you wanted to actually have the note in your file so you could see it without opening it. But that's a couple of different ways to do that. Oops. So questions about inserting files? I'm going to open this back up again. The next thing you can do is to insert pictures, which probably most people do more than inserting files, but it depends on what you're trying to store. So if I want to insert pictures, again, I go into Insert and Pictures. And I can get pictures from a couple of different places. I can get them from my device. So I click here again, it takes me to my File Explorer where I can go to wherever I have pictures. I've got pictures up here in my OneDrive. So this is OneDrive for those of you that know about OneDrive. If you don't, again, there's a class about OneDrive, but I can go into my pictures here and grab a picture and it inserts that picture. You can do all the things you're used to doing it. You can resize it. If you need to resize it, it's in its own container. So I can move it around within that container. So if I got some text or some other information and I want to move the pictures around, or I could add more text into the same container that this one's in. So again, the flexibility of the containers. So I'm going to stay in that same container and show you another way to add a picture. I can also insert a picture from online. And this is where you can get a stock picture. So I can search. I've got a picture of a dog here. Let's stay with the dog theme. So I want to search for pictures of dogs. And it takes me, Dolphs. I'm having a bad typing morning today. That's better. So, and this is all stock photos that you're allowed to use without any licensing concerns. So if I want that one, which is kind of cute, I can just click that one. And it's now copied that picture into my container. I can resize it to match the size of the other one. So if you're doing a report or something where you're talking about dogs, or if you're doing a menu and recipes, you may want to put a picture of what you're cooking. I've got some sample here, and maybe this is a good time to go over these. We've kind of gone over some of the basics already of things you might want to do with OneNote. So we talked about to-do lists. You can have contacts in here, and I've got a different container for each type of person. You can have more than one plumber, more than one electrician. Recipes. So you can have different recipes, and you can insert pictures and videos even. Things you want to do later. Vacation ideas. This has got some links and some things I haven't shown you yet, but etc. Menu planners, gift ideas for different people, some other things you might want to do. Okay. So that's pictures. Let's add, I'm continuing to add pages just to kind of show you how easy it is to add another page. So let's look at links.
Wade, how can you delete a page?
A page, yeah, and you can delete at any level. I can delete a container on from a page, or if I want to delete the entire page here, I can just right click and delete page. And that page is now gone. Yeah. And I'll show you how to move pages in a minute, but you can, very easy to delete containers within a page or pages entirely. So links to websites. So that's a scenario where maybe you're collecting information for something you want to do. And so you're out on the web and you're looking at stuff, and let's see, or you're researching Portugal. And so you're finding information, and this is Portuguese history. So there's a link to Encyclopedia Britannica's page about Portugal. So all I have to do is just copy this and come over here and paste it. And I've got a link to that web page. So if later on when I'm getting ready to do some work, I can just click here and it'll open that page again for me. Very simple, but something that comes in very handy. That's what this to read later page is for. So these are things that maybe I'm out on surfing the internet and I see some things I want to read more about, but I don't have time right now. So I can just copy that link, put it in my to read later list. So then later on when I've got some time, I've got all the things I wanted to go back to here in my OneNote. I just click and I'm back there again. All right, so let's do one more here. Trying to keep an eye on the time here, videos. You can also insert videos. And so, if you've got a video, and let me go back over here and let's go to the home of videos, YouTube. Relaxing Forest, that sounds good. So if I want to put a link to this YouTube, again, just copy the link and paste it here. And it's now put this in my note. I can actually play it from here instead of having to launch.
I wondered if you delete the picture on here, will it delete it on your photos, at your photos? Because I learned that sometimes when you delete a photo somewhere on your system, that it deletes them all.
Yeah, now this is different. This is just a link. So, like if I put, well, I deleted that whole page with the pictures of the picture of my dog, but that doesn't affect the actual picture in your file. It's a copy or a link to that one. But yeah, that's that gets into cloud storage where you can, if you delete pictures from a synced file, you can delete it everywhere. Yeah, that doesn't come into play here. These aren't synced. They're copies or they're links. And again, I'll show you another up here where I have vacation ideas. So, the scenario here is that you're trying to decide where you want to go for vacation. So you start collecting information. So I've got a link here to tickets for Colonial Williamsburg. I can click that link to go see how much tickets are and information about that. If I copied a video over here, so if I want to watch the video, I can play the video from here. So using some of the things we talked about, then I've got Miami Beach as another vacation site. So you can start collecting information about that one. All right. So that's the different ways to put things into pages. A couple other things I wanted to show you. Again, if there's no questions about putting things into pages. Okay, moving pages. Oh, you're heading out? Yes. Hey, bye, Doug. It's my wife and my dog. See you later. Okay, so you can move things around. So let's say we've got this vacation ideas here. Let me start with something else. Let me go back to here and so I got a link here to a website. And so maybe I want to put this over here in my to read later tab instead of under class, April class. I can just right click on this page and say move or copy. And where I want to put it under my to read later tab instead of under my class tab. I can move it or I can make a copy. So I'd leave a copy in this tab and put a copy in that tab. I don't want two copies. I just want to move it. So I'm going to click move. It's taken that page out of this tab and put it up here in this tab. So there's the Encyclopedia Britannica one that we had. So you can, again, just like you open your physical notebook and take it out of one tab, move it to another tab, you can do the same thing. You can move pages around from one tab to another tab, which happens a lot as you start. You don't maybe have a good idea of what you're going to do. The more you work on it, you decide to move things around. Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, if you copy it, does it, if you update one version, does it update the other version as well? Or okay, it makes it a completely independent.
It is literally a copy, an independent copy.
Okay,
yeah.
Thanks.
Yep. Okay. And you can do the same thing at the section level. I can take this this section and move them around. So let's say I've decided that I want to have a whole separate notebook for vacation information. So this is right now in my class. And I've actually done that already. I've already created a separate notebook called Vacation Notebook. So if I want to move this section, again, just like opening the binder, taking that section out, putting it in another physical notebook, I just right click, move or copy, and say I want to put it in the vacation notebook. And again, I'm going to move it. I could copy it if I want both places. Most of the time you're going to probably move. It's now gone from this notebook, but it's now over here in this notebook. There's the vacation ideas we had over there. So now I've got my two different sections here. When do we want to go on vacation and where do we want to go? And I want to relabel this because this maybe now I should just rename this to be vacation sites. So I can relabel it. Okay. Is everybody with me? And I think that whole analogy of a physical notebook to me makes it very easy to keep track of what I'm doing because it's something I'm used to doing. The last thing I think I had here, and we may have time for a couple of questions, is sharing notebooks. I mentioned that at the very top, that's one of the things, that the fact that it's stored in OneDrive, it allows me to share this. So maybe this is going to be a family vacation with, with me and my wife, my brother and his wife, and my niece. We're all going to go somewhere. So I want to get their input as to when can they go and where do they want to go. So I kind of got it started, but I want to share this with them and let them update it. So we're working on this together as a family. So I can share this notebook. You can only share at the notebook level. I can't share a page in a notebook, but I can share an entire notebook. And you do that just by coming up here to the Share tab at the top. And just put the address of who you want to share this with. And if I want to, add additional people, I can add more people. And then I would just hit share. Oh, you need to determine what they can do. Can they just look at it, but not edit your notebook? Which in most cases is probably, the safer thing to do, and just have them let you know what they want to change. But if you trust them, you can let them edit it so they can go in and make changes to it themselves. Add their dates, add their vacation ideas, add more information to one you've started. And then just click share and it'll send an email inviting them to your, to access this document. And once you've done that, they'll show up down here. Actually, let me just, I'm gonna go ahead and send it. I'm gonna send it to my other email. You can, I have a Yahoo account as well, so I can just go ahead and share that. And see, now it's telling me, it's the same name, but this is my Yahoo account. So my Hotmail account has shared it with my Yahoo account, but pretend this is another person. And so I can go back and change my mind and say, I want to stop sharing with that person, or I want to edit that person's privileges, just switch them to view only access. So now they still got access to it, but they can only view it. They can't share it. Questions about sharing? Okay.
Not about sharing, but I have a question about text. Let's say you copy a text into your OneNote and it's double or triple space. How do you change the spacing of a document?
I'm not sure if there is a way to do that. If there is, I haven't found it. I've never looked for that, but I don't see an option. That's probably more, that's really more like for document processing, something like when you would do in Word. I think this is more just taking notes, so it's not as concerned about formatting. You can do some formatting, like you can do bullet points and those types of things, but I don't see anything related to actually formatting where you can double space it or triple space it. That's what you're looking for, right? Yeah.
It's like I've copied something that's double space and I wanted single space.
Yeah.
And I haven't found anything that can make me adjust that either.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't really looked for that, but I don't remember seeing it anywhere I've been in there. So that may not be something you can do. It's not a full-blown word processor. It's more just a note taker. So, okay, we got just a couple of minutes left. So I do need to go to the closing here. So some of you are probably trying to get to another class after this one, and I don't want to make you late for your next class. So this is the end of the official class part. And I do want to thank you for attending the class, and hopefully you enjoyed your experience. And if you did, certainly feel free to share your experience with social media. There's a couple of related classes that I mentioned. There's a Google Keep class, which is another note-taking tool, and Evernote is another note-keeping tool. So if you want to check those out and compare and contrast, you can certainly do that. In terms of my next classes, I've got an Instagram class on how to market your business and how to build your first website. Class is coming up. Especially for those who haven't attended classes before, I want to make sure you know what is going to happen after class. So after class, you'll get an email. There's several sections in that email. There'll be some notes, and part of that notes section will be links to some websites. Part of that will review what we talked about today, as well as having additional related information. There'll be a link in there to licensing OneNote. So if you don't have 365 and you want to just get OneNote without it, there's information about that. So different ways to get access to OneNote. If you don't already have it, there's a link to the Microsoft site where it has all that information. There'll be links to 3 other classes. If you're interested in one of those classes, just click that link. There's a give feedback link, and feedback is very quick and easy. There's really just 2 questions: rate the session 1 to 5. And how do you rate the guide 1 to 5? And there's a place to put comments. We certainly appreciate your comments. They're not required, but greatly appreciated and done. Very quick feedback. And we hope you're enjoying being part of Get Set Up, and if you want to get more active with the Get Set Up community, we certainly welcome you doing that. Certainly, we hope you'll spread the word to other people that you're taking the classes and enjoying them. If you want to actually get involved in terms of hosting an interest group, so we do have interest groups and social groups where people get together to talk about things they've learned. So there could be an interest group around using OneNote, where people share things they've done with OneNote, get ideas from each other. So if you're interested in hosting a group like that, just let us know by sending us an email at help@getsetup.io. We'd love to have you be part of our group and take a more active role if you'd like to. You can also suggest classes you'd like us to teach, again, by sending an email to help@getsetup.io. So a lot of our classes come from recommendations from our community. And again, we work with lots of different organizations, but if you're part of an organization, we would love it if you would get set up with that organization as well. The last link in the email is to view schedule. And that takes you to our website where you can book another class. I know everybody has noticed the new website. Hopefully you found your way around the new website and aren't having any trouble with it. But a couple of things I would want to mention here. View My Complete Schedule is here. There's a quick link to it. It's actually under the Schedule tab now, but this is a one-click link to get there. So if you click that, it'll take you to My Schedule within the Schedule tab. And this will show you all the classes you're scheduled for. And you can click there to log into your classes. You don't have to keep the email. You can log in right from there. And if you're looking for a class that you already know what you're looking for, the best way to find it is just to come up to the search bar. And I mentioned OneDrive several times. If you're interested in finding out what OneDrive is, you can just start typing OneDrive and it'll show up here, and you can click there, and it'll take you to the registration page for that class. One thing
Great
we've
job,
added,
Wade, as usual.
great, thanks, Terry. One new thing you can do now that we couldn't do with the old website, if maybe you want to have a friend take the class with you, you can invite a friend over here just by clicking here, and it'll send them a link to this class. You can say, hey, I'm going to take the OneDrive class. Why don't you take it at the same time? And we can do it together. So this is a way to invite someone else to the class. One last point here, and because I'm over time already, very quickly, but something people have asked for, if you want to find other classes that any of the guides teach, just click other classes I teach from the About the Guide tab, and it'll show you all the other classes that person teaches. So like these are the other classes I'm teaching in the next couple of weeks. So you can find, there's that OneDrive Basics again. So you could book it right from there. Okay, so thank you very much for attending the class. Hope you enjoyed it and learned some things. And hope I see you again in another class really soon. Thanks, everybody. Have a
Thanks so
wonderful day.
much. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.